So I'll now recognize the ranking member DeGette for her 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk about methane this morning. And as you know, Madam Secretary, reducing methane is probably the easiest and quickest opportunity our nation and world has to address the rate of warming that our planet is experiencing. So I just want to set the stage a little bit. Is it true that methane is responsible for about 1/3 of the current warming our planet is experiencing?
Yes.
And also, is it true that oil and natural gas operations are our nation's largest industrial source of methane?
Yes.
So in June of 2021, President Biden signed into law a Congressional Review Act invalidating the Trump administration's 2020 methane rescission rule, which tried to block EPA's authority to regulate methane from existing sources. I was really proud to lead this effort on the House side, which reinstated 2 Obama-era methane emissions rules that set stricter limits on the amount of methane that the oil and gas industry can release from drilling sites. So, Secretary, I'd like to ask, the administration's final methane rule addresses emissions from both new and existing oil and gas operations. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, why is it important to address existing sources of methane in the oil and gas industry?
Well, clearly, it's such a powerful greenhouse gas, and we want to make sure that and in addition, it's waste.
Right.
I mean, it should be captured and used as natural gas. And so it is wasteful, and it contributes to greenhouse gases. And frankly, it's the lowest hanging fruit for how we can address climate change.
Right. And I mean, I talked to some of the oil and gas companies, the responsible ones, and they say, if we can capture this methane, we can actually make a profit. So why would we just let it go into the air? Isn't that accurate?
That's exactly right. And they see it. I mean, the oil and gas industry, the majors particularly see it as an opportunity for them, and many of them have taken steps to do that.
That's right. Last December, the Department of Energy announced conditional approval of $12.6 million from the Inflation Reduction Act to Colorado to the Department of Natural Resources to help measure and reduce methane emissions. And in January, the Department of Energy's Loan Programs Office announced a conditional commitment of funding to Long Path Technologies, which are in Boulder, Colorado, just north of my district, to support the creation and installation of real-time methane emissions monitoring networks across multiple states. So I'm interested in how this works. How would the real-time monitoring of methane support the administration's methane reduction goals?
Well, first of all, I want to say your Methane Emissions Technology Evaluation Center, METEC, also in Colorado at Colorado State, got a $25 million award to be able to help us do just that. There are a number of entities right now that are trying to identify the best ways, using the best next generation technology to identify. ARPA-E has got a number of companies that they have invested in to do that. I know that EDF has just put a satellite into the air, a meth satellite, methane sat, to be able to do that real-time detection and reporting, because reporting is an important part of that so that we know where the leaks are, and if the entity responsible for that pipe or that flaring is not taking advantage of it, the public entities should be able to go and say, you need to button this down. So super important. Methane leak detection, mitigation, reporting, and validation are all an important strategy, and Colorado's right at the center of it.
As per usual. So, switching gears, we heard a lot last year about worst-case scenarios if DOE finalized any efficiency standard for distribution transformers. But DOE has finalized the distribution transformer efficiency standard, and from my perspective, the reaction from industry seemed to indicate that they're okay with this. Can you elaborate how the final rule shows the process and guardrails established for efficiency standards under the Energy Policy and Conservation Act?
Yeah, I so appreciate this question, because this is the great thing about our government is that it allows for us to propose a potential rule, to get stakeholder feedback, and to modify the rule based upon that feedback for a final rule. And that's exactly what happened in the distribution transformer case. We wanted to make sure that there is enough of the grain-oriented electric steel for distribution transformers in the United States. That was how the final rule came out, and yes, industry was happy, and we have got a good balance to be able to achieve efficiency, but also ensure that we are manufacturing the distribution transformers in the United States.
Great, thank you. I yield back.
Jolee's time's expired.